Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going on a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to trace the physical and invisible pathways that make our entire digital world possible. It is so easy to take for granted, right? But the hidden infrastructure powering our daily connections is just mind-blowing once you really look at it.
So how does a message actually travel from your device to the rest of the world? Seriously, think about it for a second. You send a quick text to a friend, stream your favorite show, or load up an explainer just like this one. But what is the actual physical reality behind those everyday actions? We literally tap a piece of glass and the network responds. It feels like magic, but as you'll see, it relies on a very real, incredibly complex system of pathways. All right, let's ground this with our core concept for today, communication media. Simply put, this is the path or the channel used to send data between devices in a network. Whether you hear it called communication media or transmission media, we are talking about the literal highways and airways of data. This media is exactly what hooks different devices up so they can actively share messages and data with one another.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, guided media and physical wires. Number 2, unguided media and invisible signals. Third, we're going beyond Wi-Fi to look at specialized wireless technologies. And finally, a wired versus wireless showdown.
Okay, Section 1, guided media and physical wires.
When we talk about wired media, there is a stark contrast between two of the major heavyweights. First, you've got the Cat6 cable. If you cut one open, you'd clearly see brightly colored, tightly twisted copper wires inside. This is an absolute workhorse for fast Ethernet connections. It's way faster and more reliable than older stuff like Cat5e, easily pushing speeds up to 1 gigabit per second over 100 meters. And it can even hit a staggering 10 gigabits per second over shorter distances. Those tightly twisted wires and extra insulation, they're specifically designed to block out signal interference. Now contrast that with optical fiber. Instead of copper, it uses extremely thin strands of plastic or glass. And instead of electrical signals, it transfers data using actual light. It is incredibly fast, super reliable, and can carry data across vastly longer distances with way less signal loss compared to those copper cables. Now, speaking of optical fiber, just take a look at this massive number, 200,000 kilometers per second. Just let that sink in. That is the literal awe-inspiring speed of the light pulses traveling through those glass strands. Because it operates at near light speed and offers such insane power and quality, optical fiber is the heavy-duty backbone that internet service providers absolutely rely on to bring fast internet directly into our homes and businesses. Honestly, it's basically a miraculous technology. I mean, we're talking about light pulses traveling through individual strands that are thinner than a single human hair. Yet, despite being so tiny, they can carry terabytes of data over massive distances. And here's the wild part. Even though they are literally made of glass or plastic, they're perfectly bendable. They don't just snap under normal installation, which is wild for something that sounds so fragile. When they get hooked up, they use these specialized hardware connectors with names like straight tip, screw-mounted adapters, or subscriber connectors. It's just truly fascinating that something hair-thin acts as the vital backbone of our entire global communication network.
Moving right along to Section 2, unguided media and invisible signals.
So this is the wireless world most of us live in 24/7. Unguided communication media ditches the wires completely. Instead, it uses radio waves. Take Wi-Fi, for example. It works specifically on the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz frequency bands. It relies on access points, like that router sitting in your living room right now, to connect your phones and laptops to the internet. But to actually give you a consistently fast connection, Wi-Fi is doing some incredibly smart stuff behind the scenes. It constantly selects the best channels to avoid crowding. It uses something called channel bonding, which basically merges two channels together to create a wider data path. And it uses beamforming. This is a genius method of actively focusing the wireless signal directly toward your specific device rather than just blindly blasting it in all directions.
But these signals go way beyond your home internet router. Enter Bluetooth. Bluetooth uses very little power, making it absolutely perfect for short-range connections, like linking up your smartwatch or wireless headphones or your keyboard. What's super cool here is how it actually maintains a reliable connection in a room totally packed with other signals. It uses a smart method called frequency hopping spread spectrum, or FHSS. By constantly hopping around different frequencies, it actively dodges signal problems and interference. It's just a highly efficient way to link devices that are close to each other.
All right, Section 3, beyond Wi-Fi, looking at specialized airwaves.
And that brings us to RFID, or radio frequency identification. This tech is basically the ultimate bridge between the physical world and our digital systems. RFID uses radio waves to transfer info between a tag and a reader. And these tags, they are incredibly versatile. They can be passive, meaning they don't even need their own battery, or active, where they pack a battery to allow for a much, much longer scanning range. And the crazy thing is, you interact with this all the time. It's the exact wireless tech powering your tap to pay at the grocery store, tracking massive shipments in Amazon warehouses, and even unlocking the doors at your office or school building. It's a fast, incredibly reliable way to pull data straight from physical objects.
Now, let's zoom all the way out, literally, to space. Satellites. These act as giant microwave relay stations placed high up in orbit. We've actually been using this method for global wireless communications since 1965. Here's how it works. A satellite receives an uplink signal from an antenna on one side of the Earth and then beams it back down on a downlink path to an antenna somewhere else entirely. Talk about unguided media. This allows us to seamlessly transfer text, photos, and video to literally any corner of the world. Today, they're the invisible infrastructure powering international TV, weather forecasting, military comms, and yep, the GPS navigation you use every day.
And finally, Section 4, the wired versus wireless showdown.
All right, so putting these two head-to-head really locks in our understanding. Guided media, your Cat6 and optical fiber, sends data strictly through physical wires and cables. Because of this physical housing, it's got a completely fixed path and is entirely unaffected by weather. Wind, rain, doesn't matter. It's perfectly suited for connecting devices that are relatively close together, like in a local area network, or LAN. Now, on the exact opposite side, we have unguided media, your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and satellites. This tech sends signals freely through the open air with absolutely no fixed path. It's a game changer for connecting distant devices in a wide area network. But because it travels through the air, it can sometimes be affected by bad weather. So one isn't strictly better than the other, right? They just serve entirely different needs. Guided media gives us ultimate weatherproof stability, while unguided media gives us incredible reach and the freedom to roam. And because sharing the airwaves is such a complex process, governments actually have to step in to manage permissions and ensure everything is used securely.
To wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Take a quick second right now and just look around the room you're in. Can you spot the lifelines keeping you connected? Maybe it's that invisible Wi-Fi signal currently beaming straight to your phone using beamforming. Or maybe you can spot a tightly twisted Cat6 cable plugged right into the back of your TV. We are constantly, every single second, surrounded by this perfectly functioning mix of tangible wires and invisible signals. So, the next time you tap a screen to send a message, just take a brief moment to appreciate the incredible journey that data is about to take. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep observing, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.